Dear students, the first chapter in the book Footprints Without Feet, which is the second book of your English in class 10th, is a triumph of surgery. Triumph means overcoming, winning, or victory. And surgery, you know very well, medical surgery is called surgery. So in this story, there is a dog whose name is Tricky, and the dog is kept by his mistress, whose name is Mrs. Pumphrey. Mrs. Pumphrey loves the dog very much. She does everything for the dog. She spends money on dog very much. But her love for the dog is negative. She overdoes everything. She overfeeds the dog. She gives extra facilities to the dog. As a result of her extreme love, one day the dog suffers from dyspepsia. The dog suffers from overeating, and due to overeating, his body swells and he does not eat at all. He does not feel comfortable. When she consults the doctor suggests her to let the dog be hospitalized. And in this way the story starts. Now his doctor's name is Mr. Harriet, and the story begins from here. The narrator of the story is none but the doctor, Mr. Harriet. I was really worried about Tricky this time. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street with his mistress, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bloated sausage, with a leg at each corner. His eyes bloodshot and rheumy started straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. Dr. Harriet says, this time when he saw Tricky with Mrs. Pumphrey on the street while he was passing by his car, he was very much shocked to see the appearance of Tricky. Now Tricky had become very huge, very fat. He had become as much fat as a bloated sausage. Sausage is a type of dish which is which is filled with some kind of fillings. Its structure is like that of a roll. It is a type of edible dish. So the dog Tricky had become as much fat, as much huge in personality as a sausage, and his legs looked at each corner of his body. His eyes, bloodshot and rheumy, eyes of Tricky were looking red in color. Rheumy, they looked like having tears in it. Stared straight ahead, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. So these are the marks of heavy personality. These are the marks of having extra flesh in body. He was staring ahead. He was looking seriously in front of him, and his tongue lolled from his jaws. His tongue was not balanced inside his jaws. His tongue was lolling, hanging from his jaws. Mrs. Pumphrey hastened to explain. He was so listless, Mr. Harriet. Now, Mrs. Pumphrey came forward to explain to the doctor that the dog, Tricky, was not watchful nowadays. He was feeling listless. He was feeling lost in some kind of pain. In short, he was feeling lazy. He seemed to have no energy. I thought he must be suffering from malnutrition, so I have been giving him some little extras between meal to build him up, some malt and cod liver and a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really. Mrs. Pumphrey further explained to the doctor when she found that her dog was not feeling energetic, when the dog was not feeling active, she applied an idea of giving him some extra nutrition for eating. So she had started giving him extra meals just like malt, cod liver oil, it's a type of fish oil, and a bowl of Horlicks. She also gave him a bowl of Horlicks at night to make him sleep. Nothing much really, nothing more than this. Now you can see how many things she counted here that she began giving to her dog in order to give him energy. But she says that she did not provide him much. Okay, No, her idea towards the dog is that of a mother. She loves the dog very much. And did you cut down on the sweet things as I told you? Now, listening to Mrs. Pumphrey, the doctor asked her if she stopped giving tricky sweet things. The doctor had given suggestion to Mrs. Pumphrey that she should stop giving sweet meats, sweet things in order to, what to say, keep tricky healthy and comfortable. Oh, I did for a bit, but he seemed to be so weak I had to relent. No. She answered to the doctor, saying that she tried her best to control giving tricky sweetmeats, but when he insisted on getting sweets, though she had to relent, she had to give. He does love cream cakes and chocolates, so I can't bear to refuse him. Mrs. Pumphrey further added that she knew it very well that her dog loved cream cakes, that her dog loved chocolates, and she could not control herself from giving chocolates to her dog. I looked down again at the little dog. That was the trouble. Tricky's only fault was greed. He had never been known to refuse food. He would tackle a meal at any hour of the day or night. And I wondered about all the things Mrs. Pumphrey hadn't mentioned. Now, the doctor tells us a fact. Tricky was very greedy kind of dog. If you presented any kind of food to him, he would never refuse. He would always welcome the food. This was the basic problem with Tricky. And the doctor was surprised about the things which Mrs. Pumphrey had not mentioned. It means she had honestly counted some things what she had given to her dog. But there were many things she had given to the dog Tricky. She did not mention here, she did not explain here. Are you giving him plenty of exercise? Doctor asked. Now the doctor again asked Mrs. Pumphrey whether she was giving him plenty of exercise. Well, he has his little walks with me as you can see, but Hodgkin the gardener has been down with lumbago, so there has been no ring throwing lately. Mrs. Pumphrey gave an answer to the doctor saying that her dog was walking with her, but there was a problem that her gardener Hodgkin was suffering from muscular pain. Lumbago is a type of muscular pain. So he has been suffering from muscular pain. That's why they were not doing ring throwing exercise. Ring throwing is an exercise in which you throw a ring and dog goes that side. And somebody from opposite side throws the ring towards you and the dog comes your side. I tried to sound severe. Now I really mean this. If you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. Now the doctor became hard and he spoke in a hard tone to Mrs. Pumphrey. If she did not stop overfeeding the dog, this situation was going to become critical. And he added one more thing that she should immediately cut down the food from the amount she was providing to Tricky. Okay. You must harden your heart and keep him on a very strict diet. Final suggestion to Mrs. Pumphrey by the doctor was that she must be a little bit hard towards the dog in the matter of feeding him. Mrs. Pumphrey wrung her hands. Oh, I will, Mr. Harriet. I am sure you are right, but it is so difficult, so very difficult. She set off head down along the road as if determined to put the new regime into practice immediately. Now Mrs. Pumphrey and Dr. Harriet see of each other and she accepts her fault. She confesses her fault. She tells Dr. Harriet that she also wanted to control herself from overfeeding, but it was very much difficult for her. Whenever her doggy wanted the food, she had to give it, but the problem was there. The doggy was really very much greedy. But it seemed as if Mrs. Pumphrey wanted to bring it into her practice immediately, as if she wanted to change her behavior immediately, and that's why she bent her head and left the place. I watched their progress with growing concern. The doctor tells us here, from that day, he kept on watching the progress, how Tricky was getting over. Tricky was tottering along in his little tweed coat. He had a whole wardrobe of these coats. Now you see. Tricky started walking. He was wearing what is a tweed coat, and he had a whole wardrobe of these coats. Tricky, by the way, he was a dog, but he had so many pieces of tweed coats as human beings have. For the cold weather and a raincoat for the wet days. For the cold winter season, he had many tweed coats. For the rainy season, he had raincoats. He struggled on drooping in his harness. Now, Tricky was struggling. He was trying to, what to say, run away from Mrs. Pumphrey as she was holding him by the harness and rope. Harness is that collar which is used for controlling a dog. Collar, what to say, made of what to say, cloth or made of any kind of rope, that's called harness. I thought it wouldn't be long before I heard from Mrs. Pumphrey. Now the doctor says it did not pass a long time when he had heard from Mrs. Pumphrey about the problem of the dog. Then the expected call came within a few days. Now you see, some days passed after he had met Mrs. Pumphrey and the dog Tricky, and there came a call from Mrs. Pumphrey. Mrs. Pumphrey was distraught. She was very much worried. Tricky would eat nothing. Tricky was not eating at all, refused even his favorite dishes, and besides, he had bouts of vomiting. He had stopped eating at all, and besides it, he was vomiting day by day. He spent all his time lying on a rug. There was a blanket on which he was sleeping, and he was spending all his time in sleeping on that blanket for the whole day, panting. He was taking very long breath. Very painfully he was breathing. Didn't want to go for walks, didn't want to do anything. Now, the dog Tricky didn't want to go for walks. He didn't want to do anything. In this way, you see, everything that happened here was quite unusual. Mrs. Pumphrey was worried about her dog. A few days ago, she had met the doctor, and the doctor had given her suggestions. Perhaps she did not follow the suggestions. That's why the dog was suffering. I had made my plans in advance. The only way was to get Tricky out of the house for a period. I suggested that he be hospitalized for about a fortnight to be kept under observation. Now the doctor, Mr. Dr. Harriet, made a plan how to save Tricky. So he also used a trick for saving Tricky. He suggested Mrs. Pumphrey that she should hospitalize the doctor for 15 days. Fortnight means 15 days, so that he could take care of Tricky very well. The poor lady almost swooned. She was sure he would pine and die if he did not see her every day. Now the poor lady, Mrs. Pumphrey, felt it very difficult and hard for her to leave the dog for 15 days in the hospital. And she started feeling that her dog would die if he did not find her. Her dog would not be able to survive in her absence, and one day could go, but 15 days, it would be very much difficult for her dog. She thought like that. But I took a firm line. Tricky was very ill, and this was the only way to save him. In fact, I thought it best to take him without delay, and followed by Mrs. Pumphrey's wailings, I marched out to the car carrying the little dog wrapped in a blanket. But now the doctor was very much hurt. He had taken a firm decision. He knew it very well that Tricky could be saved only by this way only. If he lived with Mrs. Pumphrey, she would overfeed him and he would die. As a result, Mrs. Pumphrey started crying for her dog, but the doctor did not mind. He took the dog in a blanket and put it into his car and left the place. Now, when the doctor was coming with the dog for the hospital, what was the situation at the home of Mrs. Pumphrey? The entire staff was roused and maids rushed in and out bringing his daybed. The entire staff of the family of Mrs. Pumphrey started going here and there. Some of the servants brought daybed for the dog. Some of the servants brought nightbed for the dog. Some of the servants brought cushions, toys, and rubber rings for the dog. Breakfast bowl for the dog, lunch bowl, super bowl, everything was there. These were the facilities of a dog in Mrs. Pumphrey's house. And all the servants started working for it. Realizing that my car would never hold all the stuff, I started to drive away. Now you see. Another was a problem. Realizing that my car would never hold all the stuff, doctor understood it very well that these things, so many things, could not be carried by his car. He started driving away. As I moved off, Mrs. Pumphrey with a despairing cry threw an armful of the little coats through the window. Mrs. Pumphrey saw that the doctor was about to start. She was very much despair. She was very much disappointed, and with a cry, she threw some of little coats of her dog through the window inside the car. I looked in the mirror before I turned the corner of the drive. Everybody was in tears. The doctor himself saw that just for a dog, all the family members, all the servants, maids were shedding tears. Everybody was in tears. Out on the road, I glanced down at the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat by my side. When Dr. Harriet was on the road driving, he saw that the little animal, the dog Tricky, was gasping. Gasping means it was panting, badly breathing with pain and sitting by his side. I patted the head and Tricky made a brave effort to wag his tail. Dr. Harriet thumped the dog with his fond slaps, and the dog also responded. It started waving its tail. Poor old lad, I said, you haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. The doctor was now trying to console the dog, and he was thinking that he finally had some kind of treatment for him.